Governor Godswill Akpabio appointed Chancellor of Richmond University, Ikot-Ekpene. Two-day workshop on digital broadcasting for media organizations opens in Uyo. World celebrates music maestro Bob Marley 34 years after passing on. Details of this and more in a moment. Morning to you and welcome to KBC 45 News. At dawn, my name is Blessing Isongu. Governor Godswill Akpabio has been appointed the pioneer chancellor of Richmond University, Ikot-Ekpene, Akwa Ibom State. The chairman board of trustees of the university, Senator Emmanuel Iboisen, announced this at the Thanksgiving service and public presentation of the official license to operate as a private university held at the New Apostolic Church, Ikot-Obiaidem, Ikot-Ekpene local government area. According to Senator Iboisen, Chief Akpabio was considered for the appointment in view of his support and commitment to the realization of the university and his love for the education of Akwa Ibom children and Nigerians. Richmond University said will open its doors to students from October 2015 in 3 faculties with 14 departments as approved by the National Universities Commission.
While you think to make you the best chancellor, the founding chancellor of Richmond University.
Reacting to the appointment, Governor Akpabio thanked the authorities of the institution for appointing him pioneer chancellor, stressing that the timely manifestation of Richmond University was a boost to the educational sector of the state's economy.
That positive dream in prayer and your dreams shall come true. So as we live here today, we live with the hope that God has brought life. The university is life.
Governor Godswill Akpabio was among dignitaries who worshipped Sunday at the New Apostolic Church, Ikot-Obiaidem in Ikot-Ekpene local government area during a Thanksgiving service to mark the official presentation of license for the commencement of Richmond University in Ikot-Ekpene. Organized by the Chairman Board of Trustees of the University, Senator Emmanuel Iboisen, the service attracted who is who in the academic community, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Abuja, management and staff of Richmond University, traditional rulers, the Christian community, friends and well-wishers of Senator Iboisen. Etienne Ibama filed the report.
Acknowledging that God gives every man ability to excel in any endeavor, Senator Emmanuel Iboisen led dignitaries from all walks of life to thank God for approval granted Richmond University by the federal government. Addressing the congregation, Governor Godswill Akpabio congratulated Senator Iboisen on the receipt of the license, noting that whatever is entrusted in God's hands cannot see decay. Chief Akpabio maintained that with the provisional license to operate as a private university, Ikot-Obiaidem in Ikot-Ekpene and Akwa Ibom will further host the world. He advised members of the host community to ensure peace and harmony, even as he pledged to support the institution to succeed. Describing the licensing of Richmond University as a manifestation of long-awaited dreams of Senator Iboisen, Governor Akpabio enjoined youth to borrow a leaf in whatever they embarked on by working hard to achieve such. To further boost the transport and communication, Chief Akpabio announced that the incoming administration will construct Ikot-Ekpene Umuahia Road.
He used to dream as a child of owning a school. God did not give him only a school. God gave him a primary school, a secondary school, and now what? A university. You must have a dream. Esther, you must have a dream. Concord, you must have a dream. Maria, you must have a dream. And your dream must be a positive dream. Then you must pray over it.
The Chairman, Board of Trustees, Ritman University, Senator Emmanuel Iborosien, and family members expressed gratitude to God for the height they have attained. Senator Iborosien, who recounted how he had been nursing the vision of turning the forest in his village into a school, explained that it all started with the establishment of a Ritman group of schools, from the nursery and primary school in 2003 to a secondary school, the Ritman College, and now Ritman University. He commended President Goodluck Jonathan and Federal Executive Council for the approval. Senator Iborosien also appreciated groups and individuals who have contributed in one way or the other to the realization of the vision.
University is not Emmanuel Iborosien. We may have been the instrument in God's hand to bring a university to Akwa Ibom and Nigeria. We don't own a university. The world owns a university.
Earlier in his exaltation, the officiating minister, Elder Samuel Usoro, emphasized the need for Christians to use their position to serve humanity. Speaking on the theme, The Way to Perfection, Elder Usoro described Jesus as the way, the truth, and life, noting that anyone who wants to follow Christ must forsake earthly things. The service was spiced with renditions by choir groups. The Federal Executive Council on February 25, 2015 approved Ritman University as the 58th private university in Nigeria, and on the 5th March 2015, the National Universities Commission, NUC, issued a license for the university to begin operation. Etienne Oibanga reporting.
The Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie Ebeh, has bagged the Distinguished African Women in Leadership Award. The award was conferred on Lady Ebeh by the African Women in Leadership Organization during its 7th convention held at the Ikeja Sheraton Hotel, Lagos. Colonel Demefreti reports that the award was in recognition of Lady Ebeh's outstanding leadership role in public service.
This award for your outstanding leadership and outstanding career in the public office. God bless you.
That was the conferment of the award as a distinguished African woman with outstanding leadership in public service, done on behalf of all African women in leadership by the wife of the Vice President-elect, Mrs. Durapo Osibajo. Speaking after receiving the award, Lady Ebeh said she was delighted and indeed grateful to God that her daily services to him and his children got noticed and is rewarded. Lady Ebeh, who observed that the award was a symbol of love of the African women in leadership for women all over the world, said it was a call for more selfless service of care for the underprivileged woman. The Deputy Governor thanked the organization for the award and dedicated it to women the world over.
Let me thank you in a very special way for this award. I want to say that this award is not for me. It's a symbol of love that African women in leadership have for women, not only in Nigeria but in other countries, which is selfless and free from fear, and which pours itself out for the object of its affection without demanding any return. Let me therefore dedicate this award to all the women across the world, so that at the end of it, the men will learn to love us more.
Earlier, the founder of the organization, Mr. Elisha Atai, and its African Regional President, Mrs. Alanyi Silva, had said that Lady Ebeh was chosen for the award from among the many who were selected and nominated from across the continent. Mr. Atai and Mrs. Silva, who spoke separately, congratulated Lady Ebe, adding that she should consider herself called to be more committed in her services for the betterment of women and the good of mankind. Commenting on the award, the Chairman, State Hospital Management Board, Dr. Valentine Attar, said the award was not just a recognition of Lady Ebe as a public servant and a champion of the cause of women, but a recognition of Akwa Ibom State and its people. Dr. Tahu said the award came at a very good time as Lady Ebe was signing out of service this month as the State Deputy Governor, observed that it was a call to a greater service as it has shot her into the global sphere. Dr. Tahu congratulated Lady Ebe and wished her more of such laurels.
This wouldn't have come at a better time at the end of a wonderful career as the Deputy Governor to be awarded the Women in Leadership Award. It has crowned all the efforts, which is wonderful, and I wish her the very best. I think the next thing is for her to go global at an international level. I wish her the very best.
In the same vein, the Senior Special Assistant to the Deputy Governor, Mrs. Miriam Ebe, said it was noteworthy that her principal services to mankind was rewarded. Mrs. Ebe, who described the Deputy Governor as a dedicated, selfless leader committed to the welfare of others, said being recognized means validation of her services to mankind. She called on women, especially the young ones, to emulate Lady Ebe, even as she congratulated her on the award.
I am actually very happy, very elated. The fact that the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom was giving a special recognition tonight. He was awarded. And for us to have dedicated an award to the women goes a long way to show how passionate she is about the affairs of the women.
Colonel Edem Efreti reporting.
Congratulations there to a woman of substance. The Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, in collaboration with Trim Communications Nigeria Limited, has commenced a 2-day workshop on digital broadcasting for broadcast media organizations. The workshop has as its theme, Broadcasting in an Era of Digitization. Yakenopo reports.
With the June 17, 2015 deadline for broadcast media to commence digital broadcasting, the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission gathered broadcasters from all parts of Nigeria to educate them on how to go digital. The chairman of Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, Mr. Emeka Mba, who was represented by Dr. Armstrong Idichaba, said that training is aimed at sensitizing broadcasters on what are needed to achieve digital broadcasting as well as challenges that may arise. Mr. Mba noted that though Nigeria may not meet the June 17 deadline, the country should be kept abreast. He said with digital broadcast, prime spectrum will be deployed, signals, sound, picture quality, and content of production will improve, but noted that adequate funding is required by government, the private sector, and public-spirited individuals.
Nigeria, like the rest part of the world, is transiting from analog to digital broadcasting. So the NBC is doing this as a statutory responsibility to get the industry ready and to ensure that broadcasters are knowledgeable and they acquire the right knowledge skills.
Lectures were presented on policy of Nigerian digital transmission, vision of NBC, live studio presentation, content, multiplicity of channels, digitization process, as well as state of the Nigerian broadcasting industry today. The lecturers emphasized that to achieve digital broadcast speed, effectiveness, good packaging of programs, and good presentation are paramount, while the benefits of going digital include creating jobs for young professionals and facility improvement. It was noted that television channels do not need transmitters to operate. Rather, what will be required is signal distributors, while media houses will only produce content, adding that with effective management of digital broadcasting, the country stands to gain billions of naira annually. The lecturers also attributed poor content of services in broadcasting to decline in educational programs, as well as drab news, and programs.
The greatest blessing of digitization is that it opens a very wide door for the expansion of the creative arts industry.
If the market demands additional signal distributor, NBC should so license.
It is, of course, an era of the dominance of technology in all we do. But it's also as much a technical concept as a sociological concept.
Some organizers of the workshop spoke on the objective of the workshop, while participants said the workshop is very rewarding.
It's making me to think, as a manager of a broadcast outfit, have I made my people prepared, for this great task? Because the important thing is that they must be prepared to take the challenge, and that is creating content that will be of value for the listener or the viewer.
The workshop will end on Tuesday, May 12, 2015.
The digitization of broadcasting in Nigeria, it is expected that the content of production of television services will go blended. From Dati Hotel Rio, venue of the workshop, Eyari reporting.
It's time to take a short break. You stay with us because we have more news for you after the break.
This is a public service announcement. The government of Akwa Ibom State wishes to bring to the notice of visitors and residents of the state steps to take in preventing the incidence or spread of the deadly Ebola virus disease in Akwa Ibom State. The Ebola virus can be contacted through any of the following ways: contact with the body fluids of those who are visibly sick from the disease, contact with the corpse of somebody who died from the disease, contact with an animal that is carrying the virus, especially fruit bats and monkeys. Symptoms of this deadly disease include sudden high fever, persistent headache, diarrhea, vomiting, general weakness, joint and muscle ache, sore throat, chest pain, internal and external bleeding. To prevent this disease, wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Keep your environment clean and properly fumigate your surroundings if you have pests around. Report any suspicious symptoms in yourself or anyone to the nearest health facility immediately you notice them. Medical personnel should use personal protective equipment when handling suspected cases and corpses. Be careful when handling dead bushmeat. Spread the message. Tell your neighbors, colleagues, domestic staff, family members and friends. Akwa Ibom is safer when everyone is educated about Ebola. For more information, call the helplines 0812-769-8984, 0812-769-8959, 0812-769-8949. Ebola kills fast. Spread this message faster. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information and Communications, Akwa Ibom State.
So good to have you back. The special advisor to the governor on industrialization, Chief Silas Okpana, has advocated a periodic review and analysis of organizational operations as a means of determining appropriate work structures, roles, relationships, responsibilities, and level of authority. Chief Okpana was speaking while declaring open a one-day workshop on public service organization for senior and management staff of the Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation. The story is presented in our studios.
Organization said that such analysis will help the management to formulate policy guidelines and staff training and development. Chief Okpana stated that manpower planning should be fashioned to meet the present and future needs of the organization for sufficient qualified persons to man operations. He explained that it was on the context of effective job performance that the corporation decided to mount the workshop to equip senior and management staff of the corporation with requisite operational procedures in public service. He emphasized that training should be planned as an integrated process and viewed as a vehicle to bring about improvement in individual performance and improvement in organization for efficiency. He urged the participants to take advantage of the workshop for their personal development and continuous growth and productivity of the corporation.
There has to be, firstly, periodic review and analysis of the organization operations in order to determine appropriate work structures, roles, relationships, responsibilities, and terms of authority. Second, manpower planning should be instituted to meet the present and future needs of the organization for sufficient qualified persons to man all the operations.
Speaking on the theme public service writing, a former head of service in the state, Elder Sonia Kwadia, said if there is no public service, there is no government, as the public service serves as the brain for running government and offers appropriate advice and direction. Elder Kwadia explained that the bulk of activities involved in the process of public service is by means of writing, hence the essence of adopting the theme for the workshop. The former head of service tasked the participants and other government workers to acquire requisite skills to enhance their job performance. The facilitator of the workshop and president, Talent Business School, Elder Namsu Moren, hinted that the workshop was to improve the quality of personnel in the organization so that their performances will be optimal. Elder Moren said that it is important that managers of organizations be upgraded in capacity and knowledge.
It's to leverage the quality of personnel in the organization so that their performance will be optimum and enhance the success of that organization. See, like it is said, a chain is as strong as the weakest point. So in today's team management, it's important that managers of team enable every member of the team to be upgraded in capacity and knowledge.
A former staff of the AKBC, Mr. Diekpenyong, said that participants at the workshop would be drilled on modern way of writing.
The use of value-added words and expressions. For example, say multi-million naira. How much is multi-million naira? You say a whooping sum. How much is whooping sum?
9 choir groups from different churches in Abak local government area Saturday took part in a choir competition organized by the member representing Abak State constituency, Elder Friday Wook. The event was packaged in appreciation to God for his re-election to the State House of Assembly. Elijah Edet covered the story presented in our studios.
The theme song of the competition was Stand Up for Jesus. Addressing the choir groups and supporters who attended the event, Elder Friday Wook said he decided to appreciate God at the prayer meeting with the song for the honor done him to represent the people of Abak in the State House of Assembly. He thanked the people for standing by him during the elections and churches in Abak for their spiritual support through prayers.
Every year I do a competition for them. The competition is to foster unity. It's to foster unity amongst them. But this year, I've decided to bring in trophies.
In a sermon, the president of Rapture Trust Ministry, Bishop Moswell Umor, said God appreciates thankfulness and advised the people to always appreciate God for what he has done.
Structure of angelic activities means that what your hand cannot do, there is a mobilization somewhere from above to help you. How many know that he helps our weaknesses? How many know he has provided?
The chairman on the occasion, Mr. Sunye Kekere Inokun, attributed the success of Elder Friday during the election to his relationship with God and the people. He encouraged him to maintain the temple and build and such.
Does not require sadness, and we should be happy every time. Today is a very happy day before God.
The wife of the lawmaker, Deaconess Grace Friday Iwook, said God owns power and gives it to whom he likes, and commended the people for turning out in large number during the April 11 election.
In Jesus'
name. At the end of the competition, Vision Choral Group emerged winner and was presented with a trophy and cash. Heritage Choir came second and went home with a trophy and 15,000 naira, while Future Ruler Choir took the third position and went home with a trophy and 10,000 naira.
The monthly meeting of the Akwa Ibom State Council of the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWUJ, holds today, Tuesday, at the NUJ Press Center, Uyo. The meeting, which will begin at 11 o'clock in the morning, will deliberate on issues aimed at moving the association forward. A statement endorsed by the Secretary of NAWUJ, Uduagekong, has requested members to attend punctually. It is exactly 36 years since Jamaican singer Nestor Robert Marley, also known as Bob Marley, passed on at the age of 36. Bob Marley died of cancer in a Miami hospital in the United States on May 11, 1981, a day now globally recognized as Bob Marley's Day. Ulubayo Akindele has the details.
Had he lived, Nestor Robert Marley, popularly known as Bob Marley, would have been 70 years old and probably would have written a song on the recent xenophobic attacks in South Africa, having fought for the emancipation of the black race.
Like something that is happening right now in South Africa, the xenophobic attack, would have sung the song African Unite. Even in this modern day, Bob Marley's songs are very relevant in every sphere of life, in every area of life. You found him singing something about that.
The Jamaican reggae singer, songwriter, musician, and guitarist, who achieved international fame and acclaimed his brilliant and evocative music, was born on the 6th of February 1945 in St. Anne's Parish, Jamaica. Young Bob never had it rosy. He lived in Trenchtown, one of Kingston's poorest neighborhoods, and struggled in poverty, but found inspiration in the music around him.
Fond memories, we can never forget Bob. For somebody who didn't go to school, I don't know what they know about that part of it, that Bob didn't go to school, but he could even teach musicologists. Great guy, really, had not seemed to have enough words to describe the influence of Bob Marley. Quite an influential musician. Since the day Bob Marley died, the reggae music industry became a widow. The guy was great.
Bob Marley released his first singles, Judge Not, in 1962, but the song did not fare well, and he subsequently found success, joining forces with his friends Livingston and McTouch to form the Wailing Wailers in 1963. Some young adults and teenagers these days would only have known about this great musician courtesy of the airwaves.
Don't shed no tears.
I also know that Bob Marley do use a kind of hey Jew that distinguished him from other people while he was alive. So much so that some women, even when they wear that kind of way, say, I want to play to Bob Marley.
Some of Bob Marley's songs include such hit tracks as One Love, Buffalo Soldier, Everything's Gonna Be Alright, I Shot the Sheriff, No Woman No Cry, Redemption Song, and Exodus, among others. These songs, irrespective of their release dates, are still relevant in the present day world.
A lot of the songs that were done by Bob Marley are everlasting songs, evergreen. The passage of time cannot diminish the beauty of Bob Marley's songs and the meaning.
Music has good content and it can stand the test of time compared with what we have today.
A delegation of the Nigeria Football Federation, comprising the chairman Alhaji Guzau and CAF Media Committee member Mr. Paul Bassey, is scheduled to hold a meeting with football stakeholders in the state today. The meeting, which will hold at the Uyo Township Stadium at noon, is expected to deliberate on the status of the State Football Association following protests that greeted plans to hold election without due process. The director of sports, Coach Anedi Dixon, in a telephone interview, expressed the hope that the controversy surrounding the status of the FA in the state will be put to rest after the meeting. Consequently, the director of sports, Mr. Dixon, has invited stakeholders in the football industry to attend the meeting on time and use the opportunity to ventilate their opinions on the way forward for football management in the state. It will be recalled that early this year, the state FA said it had in no run conducted election into its board, a situation that generated anger and protest by the football public following the refusal of the election committee to follow the NFF statutes governing election process. The NFF, in a swift reaction following petitions, had declared that election null and void. Despite the ban and protest against the third-term bid of President Pierre Nkurunziza in Burundi, more Burundians are still clashing with the police, giving rise to a meeting by East African leaders in Tanzania. There is and more in our foreign news segment with Maseka.
East African leaders will meet in Tanzania on May 13 to break the political deadlock in Burundi and ensure that the country holds peaceful elections. There have been more protests against President Pierre Nkurunziza's third-term bid, despite the ban on protests by government. Some people have lost their lives during the protests. Opponents of President Nkurunziza say his bid for third term violates the constitution and the peace deal that ended the war in 2005. Meanwhile, Belgium, the biggest bilateral supporter of Burundi's voting process, has suspended aid for the elections following violent clashes between security forces and protesters. South Africa's main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, has elected its first black leader, Musi Maimane, a 34-year-old Soweto-born priest. The Democratic Alliance Party says they are on the move to take over power from the ruling African National Congress. President of Cuba, Mr. Raul Castro, has visited Pope Francis at the Vatican. The two later met privately for close to an hour. The Cuban leader has promised a warm welcome for the Pope, who will be visiting Cuba in September. Still on Cuba, President François Hollande of France is visiting Havana. President Hollande is the first French leader to visit Cuba in more than a century. His visit is aimed at transmitting European Union's message of rapprochement. The EU had suspended relations with Cuba in 2003 over a crackdown on dissidents and journalists, but in 2014 it began to restore them. More so, regarding the thawing relationship between Cuba and the United States, France, along with European Union, want to be by Cuba's side. Poland is set for a presidential runoff. The presidential polls comes ahead of parliamentary election. Conservative challenger Andrzej Duda will face President Bronislaw Komorowski in a runoff presidential election. Mr. Duda is of the right-wing Law and Justice Party and was a surprise first-round winner. According to exit polls, he garnered about 34%, while President Komorowski was pushed to second place with 32% in the first round-off. Rock musician Pavel Kukis came third, gaining just over 20% of votes. A total of 11 candidates were on the ballot paper. The second round-off of Poland's presidential election is set for May 24. The World Health Organization has declared Liberia free of the deadly Ebola virus. Liberia was one of the 3 countries worst hit by the epidemic of the Ebola virus. The declaration comes after no new case had been reported in the last 42 days. Over 4,700 deaths as a result of the disease were recorded in Liberia. The other 2 countries worst hit by the virus are Guinea and Senegal.
Thank you, Mercy. As we conclude, do remember that you can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45. We're on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. That's our package for this morning. But before we go, another look at the top stories. Governor Godswill Akpabio has been appointed Chancellor of Richmond University at a Thanksgiving service to mark the presentation of an operational license. The university thanked him for his support. Also, a 2-day workshop on digital broadcasting for media organizations has opened in Uyo. That was the news. Thanks for watching. I do have a blessed day ahead. Good morning.
Accurately informative, knowledgeably innovative, beating other stations as regards network coverage,
and bringing on-the-spot and live coverage of events with
captivating and entertaining programs. It's AKBC Channel 45, the ultimate